The UFC is the world's largest promoter of MMA, featuring fights normally considered too violent for women. But even so, it's not that there are no women competing in the UFC. Although emergence was much later than men's, 1997 was the first time women fought officially in the United States. Before they signed with the UFC, women's MMA was not taken too seriously by fans. In the UFC itself, women's matches only started in 2013, namely the match between Ronda Rousey versus Liz Carmouche at UFC 157. After that, the world's best female fighters emerged. Here are the 5 best female fighters in the UFC at the end of 2022. Rose Namajunas. Rose Namajunas can be said to be the greatest strawweight fighter of all time. During her career, Rose Namajunas has defeated the best female fighters. In 2017, Namajunas did what no one else could when she defeated Joanna Jędrzejczyk via punch at UFC 217. With Jędrzejczyk's 5 consecutive wins, many people doubted Namajunas. But Namajunas was able to beat Jędrzejczyk via knockout in the first round, which no one could have imagined. Likewise, in their rematch at UFC 223, Rose Namajunas proved once again that he is an extraordinary fighter. In addition, when Jessica Andrade took the strawweight title at UFC 237, Rose Namajunas was able to regain the title 2 years later, when the strawweight belt passed to Zhang Weili at UFC 261. As well as having regained the belt, Namajunas has also avenged the defeat against Jessica Andrade at UFC 251. In MMA circles, Namajunas was known as a grappler at the start of his career, but over time, people will see him as a striker. If a fighter has won a fight, a rematch is usually a lengthy discussion, but that wasn't the case for Rose Namajunas. Not just once or twice, Rose Namajunas has found success in rematches. Those are all strong reasons why Rose Namajunas is the greatest strawweight athlete of all time. Rose Namajunas is able to combine her abilities within the octagon. Juliana Pena. Juliana Pena is an American former women's bantamweight champion who fought in the bantamweight division. Despite having just given birth, Juliana Pena is the only woman who was able to win the championship belt held by Amanda Nunes via submission rear naked choke at UFC 269. Juliana Pena's victory at that time shocked the MMA world, and the submission rear naked choke in the second round was crowned by Yahoo Sports as Submission of the Year in 2021. Despite losing the versus Amanda Nunes Volume 2, but Juliana Pena's toughness is not in doubt. Even with a torn face, Juliana Pena still put up an exciting fight, and traded attacks from the two fighters. Besides being able to win the championship belt owned by Amanda Nunes, Juliana Pena is the first woman to win the Ultimate Fighter. Juliana Pena is currently 4th in the women's pound-for-pound ranking. ESPN has named Juliana Pena the best female fighter in 2021. Currently, Juliana Pena has a 12-5 record, 48% striking accuracy, and 55% takedown accuracy. Zhang Weili. Zhang Weili is a female fighter from China, who is now the ruler of the strawweight division. Previously, Zhang Weili also held the champion belt, but he was defeated by Rose Namajunas at UFC 261, and had to relinquish his title. A year later, he was able to win the Kambali belt by defeating Carla Esparza via submission at UFC 281. That way, Zhang Weili is the first fighter from China to win the UFC strawweight division. Zhang Weili has an average victory that is achieved within 6 minutes 15 seconds. That meant Zhang Weili was always fast in defeating his opponents. According to records, Zhang Weili only has 3 wins via decision. Zhang Weili's victory over Jessica Andrade, which is included in the top 5 fastest wins in UFC of all time, is proof that Zhang Weili always beats his opponents quickly. Another famous fighter on this list is Conor McGregor when he defeated Jose Aldo at UFC 194 in just 13 seconds. Switch to the time when Zhang Weili was a child. Zhang Weili studied Kung Fu and kickboxing from the age of 6. Back then, Zhang Weili had never been afraid to fight against men who were bigger than him. Zhang Weili is ranked 3rd women's pound for pound in 2022. Valentina Shevchenko. Some say she is the queen of the UFC, but some argue that the queen of the UFC is Amanda Nunes. Valentina Shevchenko is currently enjoying a beautiful period in her UFC career. Valentina Shevchenko has now won 9 straight wins since her win over Priscilla Cachoeira in 2018. Prior to that, Shevchenko was defeated by UFC lion Amanda Nunes. However, the defeat did not come from a knockout or tap-out, but a split decision which indicated that she was on par with Amanda Nunes. Even in one of the fights against Amanda Nunes, there was also point controversy, indicating that Valentina Shevchenko deserves to be on a par with Amanda Nunes. Her 7 title defense fights won, making Valentina Shevchenko often called the Shadow Queen of the UFC. If only Valentina Shevchenko's charm had not been covered by the might of Amanda Nunes, the title of UFC Queen would have definitely stuck with her. Even so, lately Shevchenko has been more active in fighting than Amanda Nunes. Amanda Nunes. The status of the greatest female fighter in the UFC deserves Amanda Nunes. Amanda Nunes has now won 10 title fights against the best fighters ever. The great female fighters he has beaten are Miesha Tate, Ronda Rousey, Cris Cyborg, Holly Holm and Valentina Shevchenko. Amazingly, 4 of the 5 champions were won in just 1 round. The new history he created was dominance in the 2 heavyweight divisions, namely featherweight and bantamweight. In her last 14 fights, Amanda Nunes has only lost once, and that was avenged in her last fight against Juliana Pena. At the beginning of her career, Amanda Nunes had a record that was not very impressive, but after the fight for power at bantamweight against Ronda Rousey at UFC 193, Amanda Nunes's career changed instantly. The following battles he was able to win easily. Amanda Nunes only suffered 1 defeat against Juliana Pena at UFC 269. However, she immediately avenged that defeat at UFC 277, 7 months after her previous fight. Amanda Nunes now has a 22-5 record, 51 accurate strikes and 56 accurate takedowns. So guys, those are the top 5 female fighters in the UFC at the end of 2022. In your opinion, are there other female fighters that we forgot to mention? Please write your comments below and like the video if it's useful. Thanks for watching and see you in another video.